I just want to introduce myself. I'm Brian Russell. I'm the chairman of the board of Texas Values, and been a privilege for me to serve that board for several years now. To work with the wonderful team, Jonathan and the rest of the team. In terms of the issues that we work on, I don't think there's any more important than the issue of life. I want to take y'all back. In 1982 or 83, there was a young man who now has white hair and might be sitting in this chair. And I was on the side of Northwest Highway in Dallas with hundreds of other people holding up a sign that says, "Abortion takes an innocent life." Another sign might have said, "Life is precious to God." So as a young man, led by my parents, encouraged by my parents, I was taken there to make a public statement with hundreds of other believers on just some random Saturday to say simply, "We stand for life." And like many of you guys, that's what got me into public policy, because I made the connection that Jonathan talked about, that what we do in public policy is not just abstract, it's not just a law, but it impacts real people and real lives, and it can make the difference between life and death. I want us to also think what the state of the law was back then. It was abortion without restriction, okay? And I want you to think about how we started our day in worship. We sang, "There's nothing our God cannot do." We sang that He is our way maker. He is a miracle worker. He's a promise keeper. He is the light in our darkness. And I'm excited to have this conversation, and I want to invite up our panelists to join me in this conversation of what God has been doing in our state, in our nation, to lead us out of the darkness of abortion into the light of His life. So I want to invite up Abby Johnson from Pro Love Ministries, and then there were none. Abby, welcome. Great to see you.
Good to see you.
I also want to welcome Faith Elwonger. She's the Texas Regional Coordinator with Students for Life America. Faith. And also Chelsea Youman, Senior Counsel of the Alliance Defending Freedom. So please join us up on stage. Really appreciate all of y'all and your work on different aspects of the ministry God's given us to defend life made in His image. So thank you guys for what you do. And I just want to kick off our discussion thinking about where we were in 1980, I can't remember, 2 or 3, abortion on demand through all 9 months of pregnancy, Supreme Court not allowing any restrictions on abortion. And now recently we've seen in Houston, one of the largest abortion facilities in the world, closing its doors. Maybe I'll just, a quick question to each of you. How does that impact your own sense of the pro-life movement and where we are?
Well, it's not closed yet. The last day is supposed to be on September 30th. I do feel, I mean, not to be like the buzzkill up here, but because—
That's okay too.
Because I am the person that worked for Planned Parenthood, I do know their trickster ways, probably better than anybody up here. And I also have been paying attention to their press releases and have noticed that every single press release says that Prevention Park is closing. Prevention Park is only their family planning business. Planned Parenthood of Houston, Southeast Texas, back over a decade ago, merged into Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast. And that left 2 entities. It left Prevention Park, and it left Planned Parenthood of South Texas Surgical Health Services. And Planned Parenthood, SHTS, whatever, is actually their abortion business, and Prevention Park is their family planning business. They have not put that building up for sale, and so I am the person on the stage that's sitting up here as a cautious realist saying that they may have a different use for the building, that maybe they're not going to be doing family planning in that building anymore, or their birth control services, which is how they hook women on the idea of an abortion. But because they have not put the building up for sale, I am having more of a realistic take that there may be something like Yellowhammer or Lilith Fund or Jane's Due Process or other organizations that are consolidating together to take over that building. So I guess that's where I'm at right now.
Spidey senses are tingling then.
Yeah, a little bit. And so I'm hopeful, and I pray that the building is completely shuttered, and actually I pray that it comes crumbling down in the name of Jesus. And that's what I pray for, but I also just know how tricky the abortion industry is. These are a group of people that murder children. They sacrifice children, and so I guess I'm just less trusting of these people. So, but my gosh, I hope it closes down. I hope September 30th is the last day those doors open as a Planned Parenthood facility. And I think that, we are seeing closures across the country. We are seeing Planned Parenthood closures in a lot of states, which is fantastic. But I also, as the realist, want to say that states that are abortion sanctuary states, there are still many. And those states where abortion facilities are open, the workers there, and this is kind of what I deal with, is abortion clinic workers. Those workers there are working 70 to 80 hours a week. They are processing over 100 patients a day, 100 abortion patients a day. Many of those women are coming from the state of Texas. They are doing later and later and later abortions. Third trimester abortions are at a historic high since the overturning of Roe v. Wade. We are now seeing, for the first time ever, suicides of abortion workers from working inside of the abortion industry. Like, while they're working there, they're actually committing suicide because of the terrible things that they're seeing inside of the clinics. More and more babies are being born alive. More and more corners are being cut. They're having to work 80 hours a week. Babies are being born alive inside of these waiting rooms. Women are just delivering in the waiting room. They're having to scoop up these babies and take them to the back. Horrendous things are happening. So I think, just as a reminder, this battle is far from over. Our women in the state of Texas are still having abortions. And our women in the state of Texas still have chemical abortion pills flowing into this state. And I know we're gonna talk about this bill that was passed, but that is not going to stop chemical abortion pills from flowing into this state. So I just want us to have a very realistic take of what's taking place in our state.
That's great.
I would add, the word that I feel post-Roe is galvanized. It is the first time we're able to get to work, and our work is in front of us, and it is uphill. You're absolutely right. The abortion rate last year was the highest nationwide that it's been in 12 years. 1.2 children died last year, and that's just the reported deaths. So we are up against Goliath, make no mistake, but for every single pivot the dark and insidious abortion industry does to come prey upon our women and children, it is incumbent upon us as the pro-life movement to be right there with them, to stand in that gap. And that's what the bill in Texas was designed to do, to say, you're right, abortion drugs are flooding our state. We're aware of at least 3,000 drugs a month. 3,000 drugs a month. And this isn't contraception, this isn't Plan B. They try to muddy the waters. The first drug in the regimen cuts off progesterone to the growing child, so the child dies in utero. And the second drug induces a violent and terrible labor for her. She orders it online, it's on her doorstep within 48 hours, and she's left alone to have her abortion and become her own abortionist. And it's a really horrific and traumatic thing for women, and of course, for the death of their unborn child. But we're right there with them, and I don't think the pro-life movement's going anywhere. It's gonna take a multifaceted effort to serve her so she doesn't think that's the only option she has, to care for her, to intercept her, and to give her hope, but also at the end of the day to cross state lines and say, we're not gonna stand for out-of-state abortion providers and their predatory abortion drug trafficking practices.
Definitely, okay. I'm right there with you both. Whenever I first heard the news, I thought about the many Students for Life chapters that are in Houston, and thank God for them, because Houston, there's a lot going on in Houston, and I know a lot of the groups have been there praying consistently. I thought of the times that I visited those groups and got to pray with them. And I do think that this is a sign that we are on the right track. We are definitely winning. The work is not over. My birthday is on September 30th. So when I saw that, I was like, perfect birthday gift.
Amen.
So we'll see.
Okay, so you three ladies are sort of working different sides of this issue, right? And I guess maybe give us a little sketch. Maybe I'm more familiar with Abby's story because I've heard her share it, but the people here want to be activated. And a lot of times we get deceived because I think, as y'all all alluded to, we feel like, oh, well, we've addressed that issue. A certain bill got passed or something has occurred, and so now we can go home and, eat Cheetos or something. And, I think what the Lord tells us is, you're not home, so you're not done, right? And so I'd like maybe each of you to share with us a little bit how you got involved in the pro-life movement, but mostly camp out on what part do you work on, and the people here that want to be active on this issue, how could they come alongside your work right now, what you're working on, or be involved in something similar or analogous where they are?
Yes, well, if you don't know, I'm an attorney, and I was with a group called Human Coalition that served pregnant women in need nationwide, and now I'm with Alliance Defending Freedom, where I'm continuing my pro-life advocacy efforts on pro-life legislation. And really how I got involved in this work, it does trace back to college, where I was very conservative at a very liberal school and had been challenged on my belief systems really my entire life throughout my education, and had to learn how to defend my faith and defend righteousness and truth in a world and a generation that no longer believes there is truth. There is no longer a right or a wrong or a moral compass. And I remember feeling like God was calling me to law school, and I really did not want to do that. I wanted to go have fun in Costa Rica and just to not have a serious career at all. And I said, all right, God, you're not really supposed to make a deal with him. But I said, I'll take the LSAT, and if you'll help me pay for it, I'll go. And he did. And he helped pay for law school, and I knew he was calling me to go. And nothing could be more important throughout that process I learned than defending our rights of conscience to believe our beliefs, but that's not enough because that's confined to your home or church, right? You can have your belief system there, but you're not supposed to have it in public. So your rights to actually speak about those beliefs, to live out your conduct in accordance with those beliefs, to preach the gospel, to preach truth and love. All of that just ignited this fire and calling in me. But the greatest right, I think more than any of it, is our right to take our first breath. And there's no one more vulnerable than the child in the womb, no one more defenseless, and no one more attacked. And it's the enemy's way of coming between women and their children and their families. And he knows that if he can snuff out those lives, he also snuffs out something in her for the rest of her life. And so that's how I got involved. That's why I'm pro-life. But I do think we have our work cut out for us. And I think it's with joy and anticipation that he's going to continue the good work that he began. And he's going to continue to save lives and to support their moms. And it's just my personal view that what we want to see is moms united with their living children at home, who feel strengthened, who feel supported by the church and their communities. I think that's the gospel behind it.
Faith?
I had actually never heard the word abortion until I got to college. But I think that I had an inherent value for life. My mom had multiple miscarriages before me. And I remember being a little girl and her just sharing about my brothers in heaven and even showing me their little footprints. And so I always knew that life in the womb was valuable. So when I heard about abortion my freshman year in college, I was shocked. I actually found out from coming across undercover footage of Planned Parenthood selling baby body parts. And I was with my best friend at the time, and I asked her about it, and she started talking about, pro-choice, pro-life, and she shared that she's pro-choice. And it was the first argument we ever had. I remember naturally I was like, how can you ever be okay with something like that? And at the time I was focused on, I was thinking about applying to veterinary school. I was like, I don't have time to get sidetracked. I tried to convince myself that abortion was very, very rare. And so I just kept on going. But ironically, a few years after that, so it was a summer going into our senior year, that same friend found herself in an unplanned pregnancy. And I hadn't done any research between when I learned about abortion and that point, but she was planning to have her baby. She was really excited. And next thing you know, she talks to her boyfriend and her mom finds out, and she was essentially coerced into having an abortion. I remember my husband, then fiance at the time, we were sitting on the sidewalk outside of her house crying, pleading with her to keep her baby. We were saying, we'll try to adopt your baby. We'll do whatever we can. I don't know how that would have worked, but we were willing, but it just wasn't enough for her. And so after that, I was like, I have to figure out what can you actually do. And I came across Students for Life on social media, and I was like, oh, that's really cool that you can actually start a pro-life group, but I'm about to graduate and then going into graduate school. And so I kind of put the idea to the side. I was like, maybe I can do something else. But then when I was in graduate school, I was checking my emails and saw an email from Students for Life and realized that my husband had actually sent an email to Students for Life on my behalf. So he knows me better than I know myself, but the email was saying that I was ready to start a pro-life group at our school. So we started the chapter. Yes.
Okay, I got to shake his hand.
Yes. I'm very thankful that he did that, because that definitely kick-started so much. And we ended up co-founding the Students for Life chapter at Tarleton State University, and I became a Wilberforce Fellow with Students for Life of America. And I've now been working for Students for Life for a little over 4 years. I was the Texas Regional Coordinator, and now I focus on our initiatives, kind of spreading the word about them. So Standing With You, which is a hub of resources for women who are in unplanned pregnancies. So PRCs, financial help, food help, basically anything that someone in an unplanned pregnancy might need. So spreading the word about that, and also our campaign for abortion-free cities. So that's really being on the ground in our communities, letting people know about the resources that are available to them. We actually go door to door saying, hey, did you know that there is a local pregnancy resource center right down the street from you? And we found that the vast majority of people will know where the local Planned Parenthood is, but they have no idea that there is a pregnancy help organization near them. So that is what I'm focusing on in Students for Life at this time, and I think that's a very easy way to get plugged in if you're looking for something to do in the pro-life movement, is literally just be the feet on the ground and saying, hey, there is help.
So I have two organizations that I run, two nonprofits I founded and run currently. The first one I started in 2012 called And Then There Were None. A lot of people know about that. We help get abortion clinic workers out of the abortion industry and help bring them into a saving relationship with Jesus Christ. We have helped, that's my phone, that's my daughter. She's on the emergency bypass, so if I have it on silent, it'll ring. The only time she calls me is when she needs money, and she's in college, and the only time she calls is when I'm on stage talking. So the emergency bypass rings when it's on silent. She has a knack for it. Anyway, I will sell her money. Anyway, we have helped now over 750 people do just that. Leave the abortion industry and come into a salvation, come into a saving relationship with Christ, which has just been like a miracle. People ask me, what's it like when you're on the phone with a worker who's, walking out of the clinic for the last time? And I tell them, it's like witnessing a miracle, because it literally is. And it just shows that God can change the hearts of anyone, quite literally anyone. We've had doctors leave also. We've had 8 practicing abortion doctors leave their jobs as well and put down their instruments of death and begin to advocate for life. So that's been incredible. Those 750, those 750 abortion workers, when they leave, we are able to get them in contact with attorneys from Thomas More Foundation, and they often have information that can help shut down abortion clinics. So because of their knowledge and their help and their willingness and their courage, we've been able to close down 58 abortion clinics. So that's been pretty amazing. And then in 2019, I just saw some gaps in the pro-life movement, and Then There Were None was a gap in the pro-life movement. Nobody was actively reaching out to abortion clinic workers and helping them at a national level. So that was a gap. So in 2019, I started Pro-Love Ministries, which is an organization that fills gaps. We see a gap, we fill it. Loveline was a gap that we saw. It's our largest project that we run right now. We run several other projects. One is called Mama Scholar. Mama Scholar is a scholarship program that helps single moms complete their education. So we fund completely their educational goals. We've just helped one mom get her bachelor's degree in full from start to finish. We help them with certification programs. We help one mom get her master's degree. Whatever it is that they need to help them complete their goals for education and better themselves and their families, we will pay for them to do that. But our largest project is called Loveline. Loveline is a case management support system. So it's not like going to a pregnancy center. Most pregnancy centers, most groups will not pay for, a woman to stop an eviction process from her home. Most pregnancy centers are kind of like material needs based. So they're gonna help with diapers and wipes and onesies and things like that, which is very helpful. And that certainly fills a need. But a woman is not having an abortion because she's worried about diapers in 7 months. Most women are having abortions because they can't pay their rent right now. And they're like, if I can't even put food on the table right now for the kids I have, how am I gonna take care of the baby that's coming, in a few months? We had a woman call us on the hotline one time, and she was like, I am pregnant. My husband told me if I don't get an abortion, then he's gonna leave. He left. And I don't wanna have this abortion, but I don't have enough room in my car for another car seat. And for us, we're like, okay, that seems crazy to kill your baby because you don't have enough room in a car seat, but that's a very real need. And for a single mom with 3 kids, that's like an insurmountable goal. That's like a hill she cannot climb over. And so I was on the hotline that day, and I was like, if we buy you a car that will fit all of your children, including this baby, will you please cancel your abortion appointment? And she was like, well, yeah, I would, but like nobody's gonna buy me a car. And I was like, we will buy you a car. And so she canceled her appointment. I went on my Facebook page. In 45 minutes, we'd raised $26,000. We bought her a minivan. She did not have her abortion appointment, and now she has a 2-year-old little boy.
Praise the Lord.
So we're like, please do not kill your baby because you're behind on your rent. Please do not kill your baby because you need a new car. Please do not murder your baby because of X, Y, and Z, because your pantry is empty. Please do not murder your baby because you have a payday loan that is a predatory lending fee, right? And like, we'll pay off that loan for you, okay? Whatever it is, we will do it. Like literally when a woman calls us and she's like, I have an abortion appointment, or I'm gonna have an abortion, we're like, what will it take for you not to have an abortion? And if it is humanly possible to do it, we will do it. We have helped women gain their citizenship into the United States. That was a reason they were scared they were gonna get deported. We're like, fine, girl, let's get you on a track to citizenship. We've done it. We've helped women become citizens, them and their families. Whatever it is, if it's possible, we will do it, because human life is that valuable. Human life is that important. And so I would say, if you're interested in doing those things, the work that these 2 women are doing is incredible. There's a place for you in the pro-life movement somewhere. There is a place for you. Certainly there is a place with these great organizations. There is a place with us. If you have interest in working with women deeply, getting messy in the messy parts of life. Case management is messy, right? It's living life with these women. It's helping get furniture delivered to them. It's, finding a postpartum doula for them. It's sometimes being in the delivery room with them when they have their babies, because they have no one else. They are completely alone. Sometimes it's going to their home and being with them during their home birth. It is doing life with women in these really hard moments of their life. It's going through line by line on their bank statement and helping them budget better. It's all of these things. Like, that's what we do at Loveline. If you have any sort of experience in that, if that's your heart's desire, is to really walk with women in that way, we would love to have you come on as a volunteer case manager. If you like finding resources, we would love to have you as a battle buddy. We need that desperately. Our ministry has only been around for a few years, not very long, and we have serviced over 12,000 women, and that equals over 18,000 babies. And our abortion rate, so the women that call us, and the women that call us they have abortion appointments, or they are going to have an abortion. Our abortion rate of women that actually go through with their abortions after talking with us is less than 2%. We have the lowest abortion rate of any other ministry that I've talked to in the pro-life movement, because we will move heaven and earth to save the life of a preborn child. And so if that's something that you're interested in doing, I would love to talk to you about that.
Okay, so I'm looking at my timer that says I'm over time, but I'm gonna ask one more question anyway. And sorry, Jonathan. So we've heard about recent progress in trying to address mail order abortion. And as briefly or succinctly, and I'll just throw this out to anyone who wants to tackle it, what can we do you think, legislatively or otherwise, to tackle that specific issue? Because that's gonna become the #1 killer of preborn babies in Texas, and it's gotta stop.
That is the question. So we've spent 5 years coming up with the legal strategy to overcome abortion drug trafficking, because it's not just traditional drug trafficking where somebody maybe hosts a website, get your drugs here, which is what they're doing. You also have 22 states in lockstep who passed abortion shield laws so that anybody from their state, New York, California, doctors, mail abortion drugs into Texas. And if you so much as bring a lawsuit, let's say a woman gets those drugs, was ectopic unknowingly, loses her fallopian tubes, this is real, this is what's happening, she can't sue across state lines, or she's on the hook for triple damages just for bringing the lawsuit. And when the state of Texas tried to bring a lawsuit against Dr. Carpenter for doing this and harming our women and killing our children, those shield laws say that the county clerk can't even file his order when he won. And so what we're up against is shield laws. We're up against drug trafficking itself, and several other problems that are unprecedented, like district attorneys saying that never, ever, ever will they ever prosecute abortion crime in any context. Those are our Texas district attorneys, your district attorney, signing letters saying we'll never prosecute. And so we came up with the idea that public prosecution is not going to be possible. And we worked with very brilliant lawyers in partnership, an Allied Alliance, a professor who's brilliant, who helped us overcome the shield law and provided language for that. Us bringing doctor testimony, us bringing women's stories of what's really happening, and advocating nonstop to say, this bill is uniquely designed to allow anyone to bring suit against an out-of-state person for shipping a single drug into our state. And they don't even have to produce a dead child, which is their goal. They'll never stop. The fact that they're shipping in is enough to bring injunctions, a $100,000 fine against them for every single drug that makes it into the state of Texas. And we know who they are because they're advertising and profiteering off of the harm they're causing. And so this bill is very unique, but that's what it's exactly designed to do, to reach across state lines and at least start bringing some tester cases, which we at ADF are capable of doing, is saying not only we're gonna help advocate for the legislation itself, but on the backside, we also need to start bringing cases. We have the Texas Heartbeat Act, which is a good place to start, but the enforcement's gonna be on the legal side now. It's an uphill battle, but one that we're certainly up for.
All right, please give your thanks to our panel.
I do want to say something on that, and I'm the only person up here that believes this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I do believe that we do have to start going after the consumerism of abortion. 64% of abortions were performed by women themselves. Like Chelsea said, it is the women now that are their own abortionists. And it is no longer doctors performing abortions anymore. It is women going to websites, seeking out the website, putting in all of their information, clicking through pages and pages and pages of information, getting the pills to their home, reading through information, taking the pills, going through the process, seeing their baby in the toilet, flushing their baby down the toilet. We see, if you go on TikTok and type in pro-choice, hashtag pro-choice, you will see women having abortion parties. You will see women digging their babies out of toilets, planting them in their garden, so that they can remember the abortion they had and celebrate the baby that they murdered. You will see them taking their ultrasound images that they got from pregnancy centers, hanging them up on the wall and throwing darts at their ultrasound image. You will see them getting drunk, and the day before their abortion or the day of their abortion, because they're so happy that they're having an abortion. If you go out to abortion clinics at any point in time and you try to reach out to the women going in, they will say, F you, I can't wait to effing murder this baby. We are not dealing with a culture of victims anymore. In the 70s, 80s, we were dealing with the culture of victims. Women did not know what they were doing. We did not have ultrasound technology as we do right now. The majority of women having abortions today they've had babies. Over 60% of women who have had abortions today have had children. Many, many of the women today that are having abortions have actually seen their children on an ultrasound. They've seen the child that they are aborting on their ultrasound, and they're having the abortion anyway. We are not dealing with a world full of victims, a society full of victims that are like, I had no idea I was pregnant with a baby. I had no idea there was a heartbeat. I had no idea what an abortion was. We all have this sitting in the palms of our hands. We are a more educated populace than ever before. And these women going in to have abortions know exactly what they're doing. Coercion is slim. I have 2 of my 8 children sitting in the audience today. There is no amount of coercion that would allow you to think it would be okay for me to murder one of my children. There is no amount of coercion. If my husband said, if you don't kill Luke, one of my children that's sitting here today, sorry, Luke, if you don't kill Luke, I'm kicking you out of the house. Would you all be like, okay, go ahead and do it? No. What would that be? Murder. And you wouldn't look at me and go, well, I mean, she was really being coerced. Her husband was being super mean about it. So it's okay that she did it. She was really a victim. Guys, we have got to start seeing a paradigm shift in our movement. Do we believe the preborn are actually human beings with equal dignity and equal worth, or do we not? Do we believe that they are subhuman? Do we believe that they only have some personhood, or do we not? There is a woman that they just found her in Austin. She delivered a live baby, and she put that live baby in a dumpster in an apartment complex. I don't know if y'all have already talked about this today. And the city of Austin is charging her with child endangerment. Child endangerment. Why? Because in our society, we actually don't see the preborn. We actually don't see our most vulnerable, children that have just been born, as equal to my 10-year-old and my 12-year-old sitting here in the audience. And they see that woman as a victim because she was scared and she didn't know what she was doing. And she was so scared, and she was a victim. That woman should be charged with attempted murder of that baby. But we are not doing it because we live in a victimhood society. I have had 2 abortions. I have murdered 2 of my babies in the womb. I was not a victim. I knowingly and willingly, even though my boyfriend was kind of pressuring me, that was no excuse to lay my body down on a table and to allow a man, to pay a man and to allow an abortionist to put instruments into my body to tear my babies apart in the womb. There is no excuse for that. There is no possible excuse, and no amount of coercion could justify murdering innocent human beings. And that's what we are allowing in our society. So I'm not saying that, throw women in jail. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not a lawyer. I am not a legal scholar. I am nothing like that. But what I am saying is that we need to come to a reckoning in our movement, in the pro-life movement, where we actually decide that the true victim of abortion, the only victim of abortion, is the child whose body is being ripped apart in his mother's womb. And if we actually believe that, then we need to start acting like it. And that, there's my soapbox. So anyway, I'm sorry. But I just, as a woman, we just had a worker leave an abortion clinic recently. And there was a baby born alive at that clinic. And the abortion worker was devastated because the baby was born alive. And she screamed out, "We need to call an ambulance, call an ambulance, call an ambulance." And the nurse next to her picked up a scalpel and stabbed the baby in the heart, killing it immediately. And even though that is tragic, and that makes us gasp, and that is devastating, it's actually more humane than taking a baby's leg and pulling it off its body when it's alive, and it can feel everything that's happening to it. That was a quick death. What happens to babies in the second trimester in the womb is they pick off one arm, they pick off another arm, they pick off one leg, they pick off another leg, and the whole time the baby is alive. The baby doesn't actually die until they take a clamp and they crush the baby's head. I have workers in our ministry that they can't eat potato chips or anything like that. You know why? Because that's what it sounds like when you crush a baby's head. What's happening to these babies in the womb is murder. Plain and simple. And it is time that we as a movement, that we as a society start acting like it. That's all I'm going to say.
Amen. Amen. May it be so. May it be so. Thank you, guys.